Hey everyone, it's Ryan from the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show here, back for another live Thursday night show. I still can't believe I get the opportunity to do this every Thursday and welcome you all to the Smoking Studios at the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. Thank you for joining us again. We've got an absolutely fantastic show. I have been following this person and I haven't reached out. They're on my list. Well, one of their sales guys, David Williams, reached out to me, was helpful in getting this arranged, and I am super excited. I've heard nothing but absolutely fantastic things about this manufacturer's cigars, and the sample pack they were so gracious to send me has been just burning a hole in my humidor, and it's been everything I could do to not touch it. But they've got some really fun packaging, so we'll definitely get into that. Before we do bring on Desiree, a big shout out to all the sponsors that remotely make this show possible. We've got BAMF Cigars, ROCF Cigars, Kristoff Cigars, Sagrado Cigars, Micallef Cigars, Pro Family Business, Pro Growth, and Pro Cigar Rights. We've got Big Sky Cigars, Cornell and Diehl pipe tobacco, with Autumn Evening being my absolute favorite, which is why I asked them to specifically make a banner for Autumn Evening. I love this banner. It's actually, at some point in time, I'm going to be printing this one out and hanging this one up. La Aurora Cigars, West Tampa Tobacco Company, and the big guy, Steve himself, over at Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Abe is over at Smoking Cigars. Big shout out to Abe as well. Tonight, I am going to be drinking the cask strength bourbon from Axe and the Oak, the official bourbon of the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. And we're going to get into what we're going to be smoking here in a quick second. But I tell you what, quick show maintenance for everybody that didn't catch it last week. Unfortunately, we did have to cancel Rocky Mountain Cigar Night, the third annual one. It'll be next year. Can we still call it the third annual if we skip a year? I don't know. We'll have to ask Desiree because she's much smarter than me on that. And I guarantee you she's probably thought about that at some point. I don't know. Can we still do it a third annual if we skip a year? Or do we have to start back over at one? We'll find out. We'll see what the guest says. But we did have to cancel it. I do have to say, huge shout out to Cody Carroll for designing and all the color and everything inside that coin. I mean, just absolutely pops. Huge shout out to Jerome Berry for creating this absolutely fantastic coin for us. And we are looking so forward to having these for next year. We are going to be selling these. I don't know if we can sell it somehow online, but I'm going to set it up somehow because we have 175 of them, and we've already paid for them. Mine as well, with just how beautiful these coins are. If anybody is willing to support the charity, remember last year we were able to raise $30,000. This year just so happened to be that we planned it for the opening night of the Olympics. Who knows? Every 4 years this thing pops up. All right, it's not really on my event planning mind. So we just had to kind of move forward with it. So if anybody is, I'm going to be giving some of these away too as show giveaways. But if anybody's interested in picking one up, I think, we can do a coin, and we have these custom glasses as well from the event. Let me know. We could figure something out if you're wanting to donate to the charity. And we are a 501c3, so it would be a tax write-off. So let me know if that works out for you. All right, now on to more pleasant news. Instead of talking about how something's not going to happen, let's talk about how something is going to happen. And what's going to happen is this amazing interview tonight. This absolutely great person. Let's go ahead and bring her on, because let's face it, nobody's here to really look at me. Is it me, or is my camera like out of focus? Just a tinge. It's driving me absolutely nuts. So let's go ahead and there we go. All right. Hey, how you doing, Desiree?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Better now that you're here. How you doing, Richard? We've got Bruce over at the Elks meeting right now. Richard, we'll talk about that here in a bit. Um, all right. So, Desiree, I am so excited to have you on. I have heard amazing things about this company, and ever since I saw your PCA video like 2 years ago, it's like drunk chicken. This is something I have to be. I have not been able to. I just for whatever reason, you haven't been in Colorado. You guys were so. I know I've had one of yours before. You guys were so gracious and kind, and I gotta say, man, this packaging, how creative! Start your day the drunk chicken way, like super fun. I love the nutrition facts as the breakdown. Um, I don't know. It's fun and it's playful. It's great marketing for me. But go ahead, introduce yourself, and we'll go ahead and jump in.
I'm Desiree Sylver. I'm the founder and CEO of Chicken Cigars. And Tanya, uh, she's our marketing director. Why did her last name just slip me? She would kill me. Uh, and she's our marketing director. She's like marketing genius when it comes to our mascot is named Cooper. So he has come out of his shell, come to life. He's all over the place with fedora, playing golf and everything. Tanya makes that happen. Pritchett, Tanya Pritchett. Woo! Uh, this cigar is going to get in my veins in a minute, and I'm gonna be okay. Um, Somehow this is my first cigar for the day, but I've been super duper busy. Um, so bag that you were just holding up. We just launched those at the last PCA, and the nutritional facts. I was telling Tanya that I said when I get these sample packs, because I love sample packs because it has one of everything, and I like to try new cigars. I said I never know what's in it. I walk away and they're like, "What's in these things?" And I want it to be like when I go to the grocery store and I pick up a can, I want to know what's in there. So let's make it just like that. And I mean, she did a phenomenal job. It tells you the wrapper, binder, filler strength of it. It's just phenomenal. So she made my thought in my head come to life. So when you pick up one of our sample packs, you absolutely know what's in every cigar, wrapper, binder, filler.
Well, you know what I love looking at the nutritional facts of this is no calories and it's all fat free. Right? Right? Like that's
Yeah.
the best. That's like fat free, right? So
Yes.
I mean that's the best because that means Ryan can have as much as he wants. Because he's not going to gain
Ryan,
any.
you can smoke the whole bag, 0 calories.
Isn't that great? I love it. I love it. So, well, let's go ahead and let's kick it off with the only segment that I actually do on the show, sponsored by Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. That is the "What Are You Smoking Tonight?" So I'm going to show what I'm smoking, and then I will let you explain to everybody what it is that I'm smoking, and then you explain what it is that you're smoking.
All right. That's the DCO, Drunk Chicken Original. It is a Mexican San Andreas with a Nicaraguan Lajero, and it has an Ecuadorian binder. And so Nicaraguan Lajero filler.
Very nice. Good draw. Just starting up. Really, really I like the retro hail on it. It's very smooth. So, what are you smoking tonight, Desiree?
Where's my camera? There you are. I'm smoking a Sweet Dreams Lancero. It
Oh,
is a Connecticut wrapper with, I always have
oh.
Sweet Dreams. It's a Connecticut wrapper with Nicaraguan filler, and it's again the Ecuadorian binder. It is a sweet tip, so it's cocoa and vanilla when I smoke it, and you're doing more of a Maduro, which is yes, there that's a Robusto um, size, and you have more earth tones when you smoking yours.
Well, I am drinking bourbon, so heavier the better. I'm saving that for the morning. Usually, I always break into these things, but I wanted to show the full set, so it's been burning a hole and just haunting me that I haven't touched it over the last few days. So thank you so much for sending this over. Really, really much appreciated. So let's kind of dive in here. I want to
Okay.
kind of start with um, a little bit of pre-cigars. Um, what was your cigar experience like before you started Drunk Chicken?
Just going to lounges, smoking in my backyard, mostly smoking in my backyard. When I lived in Maryland, I had a beautiful backyard. So I lived in my backyard with my chickens, and we had a fireplace and a waterfall and an outdoor bar, and I just lived out there. That was my sanctuary.
So you had a little outdoor lounge with chickens running around. Now, would these
Yes.
chickens get drunk? Like, did they get into your wine, your liquor, your
No.
beer one day?
No, 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 no. They weren't really drunk. Maybe the one time, but that's not how they
I've seen
got
a
their
dog
name.
drunk. I've seen a dog drunk, but I've never seen a
No,
drunk
just
chicken.
one time, one of them got into my drink, and she was a little drunk. But that's not how the name came about. The name came about by hanging out in the backyard and having friends over. And again, I was living in the D.C. area, and city folks don't know anything about chickens. So we're out there drinking and smoking and having a good time. And the chickens are going back to roost. And chickens have a pecking order. So when they're going back to roost, they are running towards the chicken coop and they are pushing each other out the way. They're stumbling, they're squawking at each other, things that drunk people do. And one of my friends said, "Look at your chickens. They're drunk. You should call this place the Drunk Chicken." At this point, we're all drunk, and so we're laughing hysterical. And the next day, I thought it was so funny because I'm still laughing about it. And I said, I'm gonna go buy a plaque. So I went and bought a plaque that says, "Welcome to the Drunk Chicken, where we smoke cigars, we drink whiskey, and we're living the dream." So I put that up in the what I used to call the she shed and the outside bar, and it was like, "Where are you going? What you doing?" It became a joke amongst all our friends. "Hey, we're hanging out at the Drunk Chicken. Come hang out." So it was like, "Oh, okay, I'm coming over your house to hang out in the backyard." So when we decided to do the name of the lounge, it just made sense. Hey, James, he's one of my ambassadors in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it just made sense that Drunk Chicken is something that we held dear into our hearts. It was part of
So
our lifestyle.
you gotta like every cigar smoker is like, oh man, I'd love to have my own brand. It always starts out right there, like, oh, I love cigars. You um took the 1% jump that about 99% of the cigar world doesn't do, and you decided to start your own brand and go down that pathway because obviously your love of cigars and what why go and start a brand? I mean, I love asking that question because you are pre-show, you're incredibly successful. Like 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 honestly, what you told me you did, you incredibly successful. You have a very constraining job, I'm sure. You have a husband, you have kids, you have like a dozen jobs, and why add the cigars in there?
That is a good question. That is a real good question. It really was not. I never, ever, ever said I'm going to enter into the cigar business. That was never a thought until my husband and I, are traveling, and we come to Florida. We ran into a group of rollers, and they blended 5 blends for us. The DCO. And at the time, that was number one. It had a band that said one. The DCO was his. He likes full body cigars. The Mother Clucker was number two. I loved medium cigars, little pepper. It was great with my red wine. Number three was a Fat Hand, and it only came in a Shorty Torpedo because I wanted it to take the work. I had lunch. I wanted to smoke it at lunch, go back in there and be okay. So only did the shorty torpedoes of that. That was number 3 band. Number 4 was Living the Dream. And the only reason we did Living the Dream because it was just so smooth and light. It was just like it goes with anything. If I smoked 4 or 5 cigars that day and I just still wanted another one, it wasn't going to blow my palate out. And then Sweet Dreams, when I smoked it the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, I was actually sitting drinking coffee and I was like, I have to have this. And so we worked with them for about 9 months to come up with our blends because my husband and I both smoke cigars, and that becomes an expensive habit.
Yeah, yes. My wife and I
Hobby.
both smoke cigars.
Yeah, so it becomes an expensive hobby. So we just did that so that kind of like supplement our cigar budget a little bit, and we bought 100 of each one of those. And so we have 500 cigars at this point. And when we got 500, we were like, where are we going to put all this? So we're putting it in my old dorm refrigerator, little refrigerator you get the dorm room. We're putting them in Tupperware. We're trying to figure out where to put all these things. But like I said, they only had bands 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5, so we knew how to reorder. And we're going to cigar lounges, or my friends come over to the Drunk Chicken. They said, "What are you smoking? What's that number 1? I've never seen that cigar before." It was like, "Oh, this is one of our cigars. Here, smoke it." And we give it to everybody, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I love this cigar!" And we heard it so much that I love it, and you should try to sell this. I said, "Oh, let me look into it." I went to my friend who owns a cigar
Famous
lounge, a
last
Phillion.
words.
Huh?
Famous last famous
Yes.
last words of
Yes.
every
Let me
starting
look
business
into it.
owner. Let me look into it.
Yes, that was my last word. Let me look into it. And so I went to my friend, Philion's, in Maryland, and he said, "Oh my gosh, yeah." And he actually smoked number 2, which is the Mother Clucker. He said, "I love this cigar," and he was like, "What's up with this number 2?" I was like, "It's just a." He's like, "You'll have to change this band, but yeah, I can sell this because it's a great cigar. And if you don't sell it, I want it as my house cigar." I was like, "Hold up." Before we do that, let me check. And so I went to Alabama, and I knew no one in Alabama. It was my first time there. I was there for my job, and I went to a cigar lounge, and I gave away the number 1, the number 2, and the number 5. I don't think I gave away Living the Dream or the Fat Hen, but I gave away the other ones to the owners there. And it was the cigar room, Don, there. And he said, "Yep, I love these cigars. These are really good. What you going to name it?" I was like, "I don't know yet." And he's like, "Well, let me know what you're going when you name it. What you're going to name it, but you have to get rid of these bands." So consistent, I got to get rid of the bands. So number 1, I didn't know anything about the cigar business industry except for how to smoke a cigar. That's all. How to smoke one and how to go in the humidor and pick one up. That's all I knew. So I needed to do a little research. Number 1, do I have a good price? Can I get better pricing? How do I, sell to lounges? What license do I need? So it just went from great to how do I get bands? Where do I go? And just doing all of that. And it went from a hobby to actually the first 2 years were still, I treated it as a hobby because I never expected it to go anywhere.
So one of the really cool things I love about your story is you are literally tailor built for what you do.
Mm.
From your job with your current company and literally what you do at your current job, tailor built you to start a business like this. The ability to do the research, the pricing, the selections, the buying, the so I mean, would you agree with me on that? That I think your background really kind of made sense business wise to what you do out of the cigar world.
What I do for my job definitely helps. It helped me do like the research, but I also have a PhD in organizational leadership.
She just gets smarter by the minute. I hadn't like this is awesome. So you
And I
have
have
an
a master's in
organizational
finance.
leadership. Okay, masters in finance. So you are just tailor built for business in every sense of the word. That's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's great though. And running your own company versus like a lot of business owners like myself, I don't have that training that you have, that finance background. So a lot of it's guesswork for me. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure a lot of it is, as you go through, is guesswork for you. But I think you came into this with a lot more knowledge than I think the average business owner did. And it
Yeah.
shows by how you did it, because you did it small quantities. It was a test run for just you and your husband to have some fun. And then people are like, sell it. You're like, wait a second, let's look into this. Now I'm a business. So, like, you did it in a way where if you didn't actually want to do it, you could have backed out at very little to zero expense to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I also I try to buy on demand. I try to understand my inventory, understand my market, and so I do try to keep things tight as far as where things are going. But we're growing, and so I've had a lot of hiccups because didn't understand the market when I first came on, and I still treated it as a hobby, like I said. And so there was instances where it was like, oh, I don't have inventory. Okay. There's times when you know that I got a bad batch and I did not smoke one of the cigars out of it. I'm like, no, and I had to go back and say, what's going on here? The Lanceros were too tight, so that was my bad batch story, and I sent them all back. And it's like, you want to do business, or I can find somebody else that can roll them. And
So let me ask you about that, because that takes a lot of integrity from you guys as a bit, because now that puts you, if you weren't behind waiting for those cigars, that puts you even further behind now.
it
Now
did.
that's, I mean, what is that? A 6 to 8 month potential, if not longer, turnaround, depending on the blend.
It depends. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that one did take us another 6 months because the Lanceros for the DCO were just unsmokable at one point.
yeah. But
So
and that's hard as a business owner to go, oh my gosh, I got a lot of people that want these, but I have to protect the name of the company and the business, and it's not like I can get them next week.
right.
Like, you knew in saying no that that was going to be further behind. When you do something like that, does the factory, do they like push back hard? I've always wondered that. Or do they just take you at your word and replace them?
No, I mean, I actually told him smoke one. I Come on, show me how you can smoke this. Just pick any one because every single one that I was smoking, and then after we talked about it, it comes to find out what they were doing was they were rolling the Sweet Dreams or the Living the Dreams because they're both Lanceros at the same time. Right after they would go roll the DCOs, and the DCOs, the darker wrappers shrinks a little tighter than the other ones. So that's what caused the draw issue. So then we decided, okay, that's not happening anymore. You're gonna have to either start with the DCOs and then do the other ones another day. So they were small, we were small, and we were working with each other.
Well, that's good. That's good. And the businesses get along. So I want to go back to I made 100 of each for fun. Husband and I passed them around, because that's what I did with the bacon company. I own a bacon company, right?
Mm,
I started making bacon just for a few friends and some family. Next thing
bacon.
you know, I looked into it. Yeah. And now I have a bacon company, Rocky Mountain Gourmet Bacon.
Okay.
And so I looked into it too. That's why I said famous last words. Um and it was encouragement. I only just did it every once in a while, and then next thing you know, Abe DeBabna is like, I want this on a regular basis. How could we make this happen? And next thing, I'm creating an LLC and starting a company, and it just kind of took off. So like I totally understand the whole friends pushing, around, and that's such like a great encouragement, and that actually builds that like grassroots knowledge of the business. So how much of that grassroots spread throughout and created the growth that you guys have now?
Oh, I mean, could not be where we are right now without the grassroots. Because when we started a little over 5 years ago, it was pandemic time, the start of the pandemic. So
Yep.
everyone was home, and so we took to social media and this app called House Party, and everyone's at home on House Party, smoking cigars, getting into little groups, befriending each other, and I mean, I work from home, so there was days I was working, smoking, and had 12 people from House Party, like almost like sitting in my house smoking a cigar with me. So because of that, and they were in New York, New Jersey, Texas, Richmond, Virginia. They were all over the place, and so what I did was I said, "Hey, I'm starting this company." Told them Drunk Chicken Cigars. They all laughed at me. I said, can I send you guys a cigar? So I got them all their address, send a cigar. I said, when you guys get it, hold it, and we're going to all smoke them together. And so that's how, and I did it one at a time, and that's how I came up with the marketing description for each one of the cigars. I said, well, what are the notes that you have? What are the notes that you have? And I took notes on what they were telling me, and so, and I used their
Love it.
description, and that's what became the marketing tool for the DCO, where they said there's chocolate and there's earthy and all the things that they said. So it's not just what my palate told me; it's the my 12 market research participants.
I love it. It was a community driven project that you just happened to run.
Yeah.
Again, see why it falls right into your wheelhouse, like, and that's awesome. So how on board was your husband with the we're gonna start a cigar company? Because every time I see you, you are like the biggest cheerleader ever for the cigar industry and everything. So how on board was your husband with like we did this for fun and now it's a company?
So he's my biggest supporter. He
Of
hates
course,
being
of
on
course.
camera, but whatever I want to do, he's like, go for it. So um, it's funny because he doesn't like to be on camera. I would have team meetings and have the team there, and all you would see was his arm with his tattoos in the video. And one of the team members said about the fifth or sixth call, who in the world's arm is that next to you? And I was like, oh, that's my husband Rico. It was like he's here all the time. I was like, and he's not. So, but he's always around. This is probably the first time that he's not here, doing, sitting next to me while we're doing this. But he's one of my biggest supporters.
So how much of the business is he involved with other than smoking the cigars and helping you pick out samples?
Whatever I ask, whatever I ask, he'll do.
He'll go
Um,
to a lounge and run a show for you.
No, no. I did say whatever I asked, right? No, he won't. He'll go to a lounge with me. 90% of the times, if it's not an ambassador, he's there with me, and he will take the stuff out the car, put it up, and everything, and then go sit down in the corner and make sure that I'm safe. A lot of people used to think, "Your bodyguard's here with you. You have a bodyguard?" I was like, "No, I have a husband."
So yes, I have a bodyguard. Well, that's awesome. So he did the setup and helped you get ready, and then kind of just watched you work the room and have a great time.
Yeah, and he actually like, okay, make sure he's like ultra meticulous. When we first started, we had to pack all the boxes. We had to put all the UPC codes on, and so he sat there. He did all of that stuff, And then when we go to the shows, he makes sure every single band is up in the box and straight cross and nice. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, just stick them in the box. And he's just like, no, they have to have a great presentation. So
Well, hey, it sounds like he's the yin to your yang, so he fills in the gaps.
yes, he does. Because I would stick him in the box and keep going.
So obviously this is a family business, and this is the only family business, right? Outside of the day jobs that everybody has.
Yeah,
Correct?
he's retired too. So
So he does more so he's full time. Does he get insurance or benefit? No, I'm just kidding. um so as you guys are doing this with as a family, and obviously, so how old are your you got some big
I'm
bugs
outside. The
around?
mosquitoes are getting me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Um so are how old are your children?
um, 19 and 21.
Are they involved in this as well, or do they just go and take them from you?
So,
I would be the
um,
one taking them from my parents. That's why I asked.
so when we first started 5 years ago, so what was that, like 15-ish, around that age? They were actually the ones pulling all of the orders, packing them. I
Love
would
it.
say, go get me a DCO Robusto. They knew what a DCO was. They knew what a Robusto was. They right now could probably tell you all the cigar sizes that are out there. Because and then the packaging, helping me with the packaging to make sure that that's the look that I wanted. They helped me with all of that, and they were much more technology challenge savvy than I am and was at the time. So they helped me with all of that stuff. So getting to where I am, they played a huge role because again, I had a full time job, so I'm trying to learn it and trying to do it, and the whole family sat there and did it. Pat. Okay, it's order day. Let's do all these orders.
You know what I love about this story? I'm really, really big into mentors. I'm really, really big into showing people that you can start over 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, as long as you have that drive and that dedication. What I love about this story is what you're teaching your kids. It doesn't matter at what part in your life, if you have the drive to start a business and you have the will and the gumption and can find a way, you can do it. And you can bring the family in to be a part of it and teach them the responsibility and give them a sense of it's my company too. It's the family business. Obviously, neither of them are old enough to, legally smoke um, anymore. We won't even ask
Exactly.
you about any of that. Um,
The 21
but
year old, when she turned 21, she had a cigar. So she was like, I
oh,
want
you
to
said she
try
was
it.
21. That's right. That's
Yeah, so the 21-year-old has tried it. I don't think this 19-year-old will ever. She doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, and I know it's not legal, but she just has no interest in that stuff. So,
right. That's totally fine too. But what I
yeah.
love about it is you're showing your daughters, you're showing your children that a lot of drive and a little bit of luck and effort and trying, and you can succeed through it. And it doesn't matter you don't have to be in your 20s to start a company. You could be in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, as long as you have that drive. And I love that because you're you're going to be at a point in time where your children are going to go, who was one of your mentors? You're going to go, I remember when I was 15, 14, 30, and packing these. My mom's my mentor. She taught me business. She taught me that savviness to that. So I love that family story and bringing everybody involved. And did they want to be involved in it, or did you kind of have to pull them along?
Oh no, pull them along. That was pulling teeth. I had to pull them along, but it was something that they grew up used to doing. I did. I was a professor for a little while at 3 different schools at one time, and I always made my test A, B, C, D, that type of fill in the blank type stuff, and I always made them. I said, "Here's the key. Mark the grades," and so they marked the grades, and I showed them how to. All right, if it's 5 wrong, this is a A or B or C or how to calculate, and they put the grades on there. And so they were used to being responsible for something other than themselves, being responsible for being a active participant in the family and whatever the family was doing.
So, gosh, 3 schools at one time you taught at. 3 schools. Not you didn't have a class all in the same day though, right? Like you did
No, no,
space
no. I
it out. You
taught
didn't have to like
online. Yeah, I
okay.
taught online at one school. I went in person like in the evening on Monday and Wednesday, and then another school I went Thursdays and Fridays, and I had a full time job at that time too. So
Hold
yeah,
on. Wait. Teaching at 3 schools was not a full-time job. You had another full this there's no stop.
yeah.
There's no
I
stopping you. When do
I
you
had
take a break?
I overwork myself. I don't know how. I definitely overwork myself. So I don't suggest anyone do that because there was a time in my life that, and this is a horrible story to tell, but a friend of mine's mother passed away, and her funeral was happening, and I was like I said, I had 3 jobs. I was a professor at 3 places, and I had a full time job, and I showed up at the funeral a week early. I went to the funeral house a week early because I just was overwhelmed. My calendar was all over the place. And I said, and at that point, I said, I need to slow down because this is not a good thing.
So in that moment, because you are very driven. I mean, just in the little 39 minutes here. I mean, your PhD, master's, taught at 3 colleges, full time job. Why or what did you have to give up to kind of find? Because I'm telling you right now, you
My first
don't look
husband,
you look today very happy. Oh, your first husband. Yes, okay. So is he one of the full time? It took a second to register. I was like, wait a second, hold on. So it wasn't the work, it was the husband.
yeah, uh, non-supportive of things I wanted to do.
Okay, so that was a big thing. So it wasn't that you weren't unable, but you didn't have the backup that you felt you required to do all that.
Right. I wanted. I feel like we're only here on this earth one time, right? As
Mm-hmm.
far as I know, I don't know anything else but the one time that I'm here, and and that's the same for everybody. And
Sure.
as you go through your life and you want to experience things, I had a partner or I want to have a partner that's going to be supportive of that because I'm going to be supportive of them because you don't get a second chance to do life again. So that's very important to me. It's one thing. I have 2 girls. Tell them all the time: find somebody that supports your crazy.
I love that. Because you're right. It's also find somebody to be silly with. Find somebody that can be a person in the trenches with
Yeah,
you. In the trenches of life or business or whatever. Um. So did you have to kind of take a step back a little bit yourself though, and kind of collect yourself and take stock in the reality of time?
I did. After I showed up, like I said, a week early to the funeral, I decided the next semester I gave up another one of the schools. It was one that was just a little bit more that I had to put into it, and then I had to be away from the house, and it was easier to be teach online than it was because I could be at home. And I was like, okay,
Sure.
I need to be home more. I need to have a little bit more chill because I even went on vacation to Mexico with my laptop and was working, and it was like, yeah, I can't do this. I need to be able to have some downtime.
So let me
I
ask
think you
you a
just
question.
froze.
Hello? No, I'm here.
Nope, no, you're there. Yeah,
Okay,
you're
so
there.
let me ask you a question around downtime, and then we're going to ask you a question at the beginning of the show. But
While you're
the
asking
question
that,
around
I'm turning on the light real quick. Hold on.
sure, the question around downtime is for me. I find that like I have if I'm going to take like a vacation, it has to be for at least 7 days because the first 2 days is reminding myself that I'm on vacation, and by day three, I realize I'm on vacation. And then I've got a good solid 4 days of vacation. Do you find that to be true? I and myself, I
Absolutely,
can't turn that off.
absolutely. Not only that, if I like to vacation out the country. If I'm going out the country, I'm going for about 10 days. Because I feel like I'm going to get the best out of figuring out what's going on in this country. I want to go to a few different places. But yes, the first thing is, what did I didn't do that I was supposed to do at work? Let me write this stuff down, and I have by the time the first day is over, I have this. I'm a list person. I have this list of things that I don't want to forget where I was on or what I was doing, so that when I get back to what I would call reality, I can jump right back on it.
I completely agree. I'm very list driven in my work. In my personal life, I really am not. It's weird. I'm not the way I am with work with my personal life. Like I am like regimented in work. And then like once the whole like Fred Flintstone goes off, it's like I'm like I'll just like I don't everything's everywhere. It drives my wife nuts sometimes. Um, but so like I get that ability to turn off the 10 days because the reality of it is a lot of people don't understand that have like that are business owners. There's no really off switch. Even though this is not your main job, it's your main job in your mind. In many ways it is. It's your
It's
baby.
my baby.
It's one of your kids. It's 5 years old. You're still it's still in diapers. You're slowly getting it out of. Actually, no, it's potty trained at this time, but you're going to kindergarten still. you
I don't
know
know. This one's a little slow. It's a little, a little slow. Hasn't got it out of diapers yet.
so let's talk about that. So you had started this pre-COVID, very very pre-COVID, right? Like super close to COVID, pre-COVID, what, 2019,
Right on the
right?
edge of COVID. Yeah, it was like COVID was maybe like February or March, and I started like um, the October of the following year. So I'm like maybe 6 months in, and then it's like, oh, we were going to shut down the world. What? You going to do what?
So at this point though, were you actively having it up and running in
Yeah.
every
So
facet?
yeah, so let me tell you why COVID was amazing. Not only did I have an active audience, a lot of cigar companies at that time weren't rolling because world was shut down. I was, and as a small business, I was that helped me get into a lot of places because a lot of the other cigar companies weren't delivering, but I was.
I
So
love it. I love it. Sometimes it is the little guy that saves the day.
that's how I
So
got into PCA too. The first PCA, the big guys were, oh, it's COVID. Well, I was doing cutting lights the whole way through COVID. I was in packed situations the whole time, and when PCA was like, they COVID time, they were trying to start back up, and a lot of the big guys weren't coming back. Not right then. And I was like, I'm in. If that's where all the big guys are, that's where I want to be too. So I found my niche, and I was the first to be there. So
so as you're you're going through and you're building this up. COVID hits. Obviously, it's a bit of a boom. You were there to capitalize the best that you could on it. As we're moving forward, how is the brand growing now at year 5? And are you where you were hoping to be? Are you in front of where you were hoping to be?
Well, that's a loaded question for me because I'm very hard on myself.
I know you are. I know you are.
I'm
Yes, yes, you
I'm very,
yes.
very hard on myself. But so am I where I want to be? No. Am I where I am I as I look at the industry, I am much further along than I probably should be. Um in where others are.
Mhm.
But not where I want to be. Um but again, I'm hard on myself. And it's a process. It's a, like I said, it's a learning process. I'm learning every day. We have changed so many things, going from where we were to where we are right now, and for the better. So again, yes and no. Yes, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
You're happy with where you are, but your drive is still not satisfied.
There you go.
And that's a great place to be because, to be honest with you, I don't think your drive will ever be satisfied. Even if you're Rocky Patel or Jonathan Drew, your total world domination is what Desiree's looking for. And anything short, you're going to see. But that's just mentally how you are. I mean, when you literally are telling me you have a PhD, you have a master's, you worked at 3 colleges, you taught, and you had a full time job, plus a first husband that you had to unload, you had all that mess to deal with, like a dead weight. And then you found a new one that's got an armful of tattoos that doesn't like to be on camera, 2 daughters, plus what you do. So like your drive is incredible. And I love talking with business owners that have that drive because it's business owners like yourself that are a model image for other young entrepreneurs like your daughter, because you're going to instill the I'm not happy with where I'm at in them, and that's always going to make them force or push themselves to succeed, and that's a great thing. I love that in entrepreneurs.
Yes, yes. I see that in them. It's in their genes. My oldest daughter is never satisfied with anything, and my youngest strives for the best. She has to have A's in everything. She has to be excellent, the top, and all that other stuff. And I'm like, it's all right to get a B, baby. Don't be hard on yourself. But and they both graduated high school and college associate's degree at the same time. So yeah.
So let me ask you this: did you like getting B's? Did you think it was okay?
Oh, I almost failed high school.
Oh, the so you again the just the constant peeling the onion back of overcoming and success and drive is I love this. Like, so you almost failed high school, and then I bet you went back and went like, fuck you to my high school teachers, I now have a master's. I and then double fuck you, I have a PhD, so like screw you. Like I love
I
that.
just
That's
wasn't.
incredible.
There was just high school and me just did not mix. I didn't like being there. I didn't like the childishness. And then I did have a learning disability that I did not know about until I got to college. And one of my professors actually helped me out with that. And then from there, it was just like, oh, soar, you know?
That's awesome. So you had it.
So,
You had something you didn't realize you had. The right
yeah,
person came along, helped you corral it. Again, I have ADD, very bad ADD. I'm
yeah.
like the dog in Up, or I just a squirrel. It just doesn't. It drives my wife absolutely insane. She's like, I don't even understand the conversation you're having right now. And then that you were able to corral it, and then boom, the success took off.
Yeah. It was something I just did not know I had, and then when it was pointed out to me how bad it was like, wow, no one's ever said that to me. Everyone just put me in remedial classes and told me I was dumb, and I knew I wasn't dumb, so I just was uninterested in what anybody had to say in high school because I was labeled as, such. And so I was a music major when I first went to college. And my music teacher helped me. My music teacher in high school actually helped me get a full scholarship to my undergrad. And then, I, yeah, I played all the woodwind instruments in
I
high
was a
school.
trumpet player for 9 years.
Yeah, I was a
So
band geek.
I was too. And I will tell you, in my high school, American Pie was a tame movie in the band room. I mean, and I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. There was a lot of freewheeling in that
Gotcha.
band room. Uh,
We
and
didn't have that band experience.
So, well, getting dressed I was in marching band. So we actually got dressed on the bus on the way to the school. So it was a little
Ah,
bit different. Um, Either way, this is awesome. So you then applied for undergrad. Do you feel that some of your drive to get a PhD was that internal you fighting back that high school stigma placed on you?
absolutely, because it was one of those things that no one thought I was ever going to college. And then when I went to college for music, everybody's like, "Yeah, that makes sense. You're going for music," not because I was academically successful. Then when someone helped me and tweaked me a little bit, I got all A's. And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to uh, graduate school. And when I graduated from my bachelor's degree, I actually gave that to my dad, and I said, "This one's for you. The other ones are for me."
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you had a mentor come in your life and kind of shake some of the cobwebs free and show you a straight path to success.
That and help me get somebody to help me on a regular basis with focus. I had an issue with focus. So it was to get me focused, to get me not jumping all over the pages when I read and trying to comprehend how to comprehend what I was doing. So they helped me get somebody to work with me. And as soon as I grasped the concept, oh, I'm good.
I love it. Did you start reading a bunch of books? Did that
Yeah,
knowledge
like,
like start to like, oh my gosh, like the light bulb went off
yes.
and everything just started clicking for you? I love that. I love
I
that. That's
read books
awesome.
like it was nobody business. I was just like grabbing books. I just wanted to read. I was reading so much, so fast at that point. But it was just, I just did not grasp it at one, in high school. And I didn't know why no one seemed to care.
So, well, it's because you probably went to a public school like I did, and they're paid by how many asses they put in the seats, not by how many people graduate. Um, Go public school. Woohoo! Never failed anybody, I guess, right? But anyway, so again, your daughter's now again, it's like having a mom for a nurse, right? Like there's no escaping the sick day. Like, get out of your bed. Come on, you're not sick. Like when it comes to you with schoolwork, you're like, no, 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 no. No, this is written terribly. The punctuation's wrong. The adverbs or the verb.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
that's I'm terrible when it comes to that. I know with your PhD, your thesis had to
Yeah.
be incredibly well written, and then you had to debate it.
Yes, I did in front of my colleagues and my peers, and that was terrifying to me. But I made it through with one word change.
One word change?
One word
Wow.
change. Yes, I made it
That's
through one word.
impressive.
Yeah, but yeah, what you said is how it was as a mom. I did not want to happen to my girls what happened to me. So I I put them into ballet, both of them on early, like 2 years old. They could barely walk. But to get to go to ballet classes, they had to do the workbook things that I had already had for them. They had it all completed, and then my youngest was very rebellious, and she was like, "Well, I don't want to do it." I said, "Well, then you're going to sit here," and I took her to the class, but she sat there while the class was going on and doing her workbook, and she could not do it and get up and go participate until she finished. But I
No
made sure
PAs
that
for you.
I saw what she saw what she was missing, and after the first time, she never let that happen again.
And that's like eating ice cream in front of a Bailey Total Fitness window. And you totally like was like, hey, listen, here's the carrot. You want to play? Do this first. But that's awesome though, because you again doing that instills that sense of I got to get my shit done before I can go play. And
Exactly.
now look, you said she hates getting anything less than an A.
Anything less than A, and she's gotten all A's, even going to high school and college at the same time, all A's.
Jeez. That's all. You really do have an incredible story. But what I love about this is the drive and just like that I'm never satisfied with where I'm at, but I'm happy with where I'm at. But I feel like I feel like I'm entitled to more. I'm going to work for it. You
I'm gonna
know,
work hard for it.
exactly. And that's what I love about this this whole interview is just absolutely fantastic. You are like peeling layers back on an onion and finding an incredible story of your success in this, and this is fantastic. So I appreciate you going down these little rabbit holes with me.
I just have to say
um
one thing, if you don't mind. Um,
sure.
Drunk Chicken Cigars would not be where it is right now if I did not have a fantastic team. And my team members, while I'm never satisfied, as you say, and you are absolutely correct, they are there. They're supportive. They're challenging me. We challenge each other, but we also have a fantastic time when we're together. So shout out to the team. I've seen a couple of them on here, but and when we do things, it's like a family, and I call it our Drunk Chicken Cigar family. Period. So
Well, you actually segued into where I was going to go because my next response was, this is your family. Are you taking this same mentality that you use with your family and your daughters to building your business with your employees?
I
So
do.
so let's talk about that. So as you start going, where along the way in the 5 years did you bring on your first employee? That wasn't
Oh
your husband.
no, that was Eric, and have Eric tell you he was a stalker, which he kind of was, saying he wants to be an ambassador. And I was like, I don't even know what an ambassador is, Eric. And he would show up at the next event. You need an ambassador, Eric. I don't even understand what you're saying to me. And about the fourth or fifth time he's showing up and telling me this, I said, I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look into what you're talking about. And I think he said sales rep. I'm gonna look into what you're talking about. I'm gonna figure it out. And as long as you work with me, I'll do this. But you're gonna have to work with me because I'm not gonna know everything. We're gonna learn it together and we'll figure it out together. And that's exactly what we've done. And he was the first and he's still here.
He was the first. So how far into um the 5 years did he come on?
1 year. So he's been here 4 years now.
Okay.
A
So
little over
when
four
he
years.
came on, how much of how much of that did you both learn together as far as what his role needs to be? Or did you start reaching out to other people in the organization or the industry to figure out?
A little bit of both. We
Okay.
work together to figure that out, but I'm big on what do I call it? Benchmarking.
Sure.
So I found some friends in the industry that I had some great conversations with. I've benchmarked twice when I was working with ambassadors. I've had a friend that in the DC area that was actually a sales rep for her Grand Habano, and she gave me the contract and was like, "Here's a contract." Now I read the contract and I was like, "What do you do? How do you do it?" And so kind of modeled what Grand Habano does for the most part based on how she described it to me. And then uh, talked to some other uh, cigar brand owners and how they're doing it. And just, we made it our own. But then when it came to, well, I'm changing the subject a little bit when I say this, but uh, as I um, as I start to grow, I start to go to other um, brand owners, not factories, but their headquarters. And they were really gracious and like had great conversations with me and great pointers. And I just wanted to benchmark where I was, what they're doing, that what I'm missing. There's something in between that I'm missing, and I start to understand a little bit.
So you benchmark yourself against multiple different points. You got the necessary knowledge and information. And obviously, when you brought him on, my guess is he was 1099. He had to prove himself.
Everybody's
Okay.
1099.
So, how do you, as a business owner, keep your employees' drive going that equals yours?
Well, we have regular meetings, regular at least once a month. I try to do more than once a month, but it gets hard. And they also are. So I believe in multiple voices. My opinion is can be a narrow opinion, and I think that everyone should take this approach. And you don't have to take what people say, but sometimes go out and just listen to what other people say. Everyone has a life story, and their life story is different than yours. And so when we get together that once a month, it's okay, what you have on your mind, what are we doing, what's the good, bad, and ugly. And I want to hear it from them, and I want them to be open, okay, what do I need to change, why do you say that, okay. And so it's not just, oh, I hate this. No, you can't just tell me you hate it. You hate it, why, and what about it did you hate, and where would you change it, how would you change it, so that you're giving me a full story so that I have a full grasp understanding. And a lot of times I agree with them, but it's that different voice, that different opinion, that because they're out there, and because I have somebody in Texas, I have someone in DC, I have someone in a couple people in Georgia, and their experiences where they are different than mine here.
True.
And so I want to make sure that those things that they're experiencing, especially if they're bad or negative, that is negatively impacting how they can do better at selling, then we want to make sure that we change those things.
So what I'm hearing is you like the feedback, but you also like a solution.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that one of my mentors, I'm really big into mentors. Okay, I had a very close one pass away earlier this year, Bradley Reith over at Zeal Cigars in Arizona due to a motorcycle accident. But
I'm
the
so
rest, oh, I appreciate that. He was very big in the industry. Either way, anyways, um, and one of my mentors, who was also a manager at the time, but whenever we would come in, we would call it a bitch fest, and we were allowed 5 minutes of complaining and then 10 minutes of solutioning. And I asked him one time, why do you do that? Like, why do you want 10 minutes of this? Or if it's 10 minutes of bitching, it's 20 minutes of solutioning. He goes, because I need to know that if you're going to be on my team, you're going to think twice as hard to fix the problem as you are about the problem.
Exactly.
And that changed a lot of my mentality to where, like, now I'm the friend that everybody calls after they've gotten the, oh, because I'm the one that goes, okay, fine, I'm done listening now. You need to tell me how you're going to get through this. And it sounds like that's kind of what you are as a boss. It's like, I want to hear the problem, but I want to hear how it's going to get fixed, or I want to hear a solution to it. I don't want to just hear the problem.
Yeah, and I also want to know, how is it impacting you? Because a lot of times we just complain because I don't like that color. It's purple. Okay, well, what don't you like purple? I just don't like purple. Well, how's this purple impacting you?
No, I mean, that's true, because sometimes as a business owner, you've got to get your own employees out of their own way. It's not about them; it's about the people buying it. And as you're kind of building this business, there's a lot of news for you. You're creating a sales team, but even before that, you're creating a sales pitch. You're
Yeah.
creating the voice of the company. So how much was that Eric, you said his name was the
Eric?
first employee? How
Mhm.
much was Eric integral in finding the voice of the company as he was the first salesman?
It's funny. I told you he was a stalker. He would show up at the events in DC, but he heard the pitch, and
He was a
um,
fanboy. Fanboy.
he you hear that, Eric? You were a fanboy.
He was a fanboy. He was a fanboy. Stalker's illegal. And it doesn't sound like you're told to stay away.
I didn't. But by the time he's heard it a few times, he was all in. He knew the wrapper binder fillers. He knew the story. He was ready to roll. And I was like, okay. It was kind of shocking that he knew it. And so, but and then the other team members, as they came on, one of the first things I would say is, you can't do a cut and light until you know the story and you can tell me the story. You can tell me the wrapper binder fillers without looking at anything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, so that was one of the first things. Yeah, you can come on board, but here's your homework.
High end restaurant mentality. Every high end restaurant, waiter doesn't write anything down. They're made to memorize that because it shows the passion, it shows that you care about your product versus you go, hold on. Wait a second. Wait a second. You want the Habano, right? Oh, that's the fat head. That's the fat head. That doesn't look good, you know? So, did you develop a sales like book or strategy to this, or did you kind of hire the people with that mentality and then kind of more or less turn them loose?
Yes and no. Start off with hiring people with the mentality, and now we have a sales book, and they get updates in the sales book as things update. So I gave them a three-ring notebook, and I made each page with so every there's a page of this the DCO, and it describes the DCO. It tells you the three different sizes. It tells you the wrap binder filler. It tells you as we get rating, it tells you the ratings and who rated it. And so, in each page has that in the book. And it also, if we have specials going on, I'll send them those out that they can print and put in the book. It has the pricing list. So I built a book and I put tabs in it, and sat down with them and went over everything. And we do that. That's one of the first things we do after our booth is set up at PCA is, all right, it's time to go. Y'all have your books. All right, here's the new inserts in the books, and stuff like that.
You are very well thought out. I gotta say, you're meticulous in what you do. You're methodical, and it's been so much fun talking with you because I've just peeled back all the reasons what makes you to be a great owner and the struggles that you've had and the reasons why you haven't given up. And I'm always a big fan of people's stories because what I love about people with drive is failure's never an obstacle. Failure's just something that happens that you get over.
It's
And
not
so
failure. It's a bump in the road.
I
It's
love
a
it. I love it.
Yeah, it's not failure because failure is when you give up. It's just yeah, if you're not giving up, it's just okay. Maybe you have to make a left turn instead of going straight and go around the situation. So I never look
Well,
at it as failure.
what was an obstacle that you had with Drunk Chicken where you were like, I just want to shut the doors, and you fought through it? What was that? Because there's a turning point in every business owners where they can either back out or they go full hog, and a lot of times it happens after the business is going. So, kind of, where was that moment for you, and how did you overcome it?
When I couldn't get any more boxes, I just sat down and was like, oh, I'm so done. This is just, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, okay, if I give up, who am I going to support and tell all of my followers, this is a great brand. And I actually went down how I was going to do it and everything. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's a lot. And then Rico, my husband, Rico, he says, well, I'm retiring, and the kids are about to go off. The one was in college, the other one's going off to college. And why are we in this big house? Maybe we should sell, go to something smaller, and that would give you a lot more flexibility to do more of the things that you want to do.
Wow.
Okay, and that's exactly what we did.
Wow. Wow. So you found a deeper support
Yeah.
that made
Um,
you go forward. Was that
yes.
kind of taken aback when he said, "Let's go smaller. Let me help you more. Let me stand in." Obviously, you know his character, and you know he would have done that to begin with. But did that take you aback at the level of seriousness that he talked about it? Because it's a big change.
I actually was in tears because it was like he saw something that I didn't see at the time. And it was like, oh my gosh, thank you. And I probably, I don't know if I would have given up, but it'd have been much more of a struggle. And so that was last year, and I actually had to slow down a little bit with a lot of things because we had to sell the house. We moved from Maryland to Florida, and so we had a lot of things, going on. So sales got really slow for me and trying to Drunk Chicken Cigar, but the sales team was there. They were doing their things. Meetings got slower because I knew that I had to get over this hump, and it was a huge mountainous hump. And once we did that, it just right back.
I love it. I love it. Let's get into a little bit around how you chose a manufacturer, how you researched that out, how you even started that conversation, because it's not like there's a phone book in Nicaragua or the Dominican that you can look under tobacco growers and reach out to them. So what was that process like in growing the business, and how did you kind of start that?
Yeah, you have to ask a lot of questions if you want, questions. Questions sometimes get the right answers. Questions sometimes get the wrong answers. But if you're not willing to ask questions, then you're not going to really move anywhere. And so that's one of the first things that I did was start asking questions about the bands. Where do I get bands? And oh, Action Label all of a sudden came up. So um, sorry, I'm coming inside from
Oh, you're
outside.
fine.
It's got dark and want to lock this door. One second.
Oh, you got the sliding stick.
Yeah, because the door, I don't like the way it locks
Oh
by
no,
itself.
the slide stick's a requirement for a sliding door.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's
I'm
like
gonna
the
sit over
latch
here
on the
now.
hotel.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Um, and I'm gonna plug us in so that we don't get cut off.
Sure, sure, sure.
Wherever this plug it. All right. So the whole process is asking questions. So I started asking questions, and I found out a lot of information by that. I met some people who I'm buying it here in Nicaragua. Here's their phone number. I ran into some people that had their own manufacturers in Nicaragua, and I talked to them. And from there, I got another phone number and another phone number. But I didn't start off doing anything in Nicaragua or Dominican. I made a lot of phone calls, had a lot of conversations, and unfortunately, I think this is one of the things that, for me, I see a lot of change in the industry. There weren't as many females 5, 6 years ago, and I didn't get the warmest of welcomes when I had conversation, because one of the things, I already rolled these 5 cigars, and I knew what I like, and I knew what I wanted. And one of the things for me was, if we're going to do this, I don't want somebody just handing me something and say, here's your cigars. I wanted to
Oh,
say,
for
I love
sure.
these cigars. I wanted to be an important factor on the wrapper, binder, filler. I wanted to be, you're just not going to hand me something. And I had a couple of people say, oh, I have these great cigars that I made for, and I'm just making up a name, okay, General Cigars, and they were they decided not to go with it, but they're amazing. I'm like, well, why would I want General Seconds? And so,
Right? Because it's not yours. It's not you.
right. And so I got a lot of that. And I said, well, I want to be the tobacconist on that. Well, you don't know what you're doing. I said, well, how do you know? So it was a lot of pushback and no. So I decided to go with the company that rolled the 5 for me, and we discussed what I was going to do. I sat down with them and said, "This is what I want to do. I want to start selling it." Had them sign an NDA so that they wouldn't tell anybody that they were my
Love it.
manufacturer,
I love
and
it.
I decided to go with the 5 that I had, because I already worked with them on those 5. But at the time, I was we were going to try to make something else. But because we went, and they significantly reduced the price. And it was fresh rolled cigars when we first started. Everything was fresh rolled cigars. So when I advertised, here's our cigars, we're advertising the fresh rolled cigar experience. Now,
So
I'm
tell everybody
totally,
really quickly that doesn't understand what you mean by fresh roll cigar experience.
typically when cigars are rolled, they are rolled and sat on the shelf for 3 months, 4 months, or whatever, and so that that aging process and the tobacco can marinate with each other. And it basically it allows some of the, I want to say, ammonia of the tobacco to dissipate out of it. But the fresh roll cigars, so they were getting a fresh roll cigar experience. And after a while, I started to, okay, now I'm going to start keeping them on the shelf for 2 months and 1 month and then 2 months and then 3 months. And so now I'm at the point where they're 4 and 5 months, but also they couldn't um, keep up with the volume. So he said, I have a brother that's in Nicaragua. He rolls cigars. Can I give him some of the cigars to make for me? I was like, sure. And so now I have half of it in Nicaragua and half of it here in the U.S. But again, there is not fresh roll cigars anymore.
So you understood the assignment. And you did your like the song says, and you did your research, and again, you proved everybody wrong that said you didn't know what you wanted, and I love that because you're so headstrong, and you do have a vision, and you do your research, you do your informational gathering process to make sure you're going down the right way. So as you're creating these 5 cigars, again, this is actually going to be a company. Um, how much of how did you take it any less serious than when it was now this is a company? Does that make
No.
sense?
Yeah, I mean, taking it from, hey, I'm just rolling this and trying to figure it out. No, not less serious, a lot more serious. I wanted to be
Okay.
in shops, and I wanted to do cutting lights, and I wanted to learn what the
Oh,
other
I'm
guys are
talking when you
doing.
were still giving it to your friends in the very, very
Oh,
beginning with the
oh,
first 500. Like, did you take that seriousness to it at that level, or was it a little bit later on when you were like, I'm going to make this a business, I'm going to get serious?
it's more when I'm making a business. When we were just making the cigars, we were making it for us, our palates, and when we went out and someone said, "Hey, what you smoking?" I just took it out my little carry humor. Here, smoke it. It was not. Um, I didn't care if they gave me feedback or not. It was just I had 500, so smoke it. And it wasn't costing me at the time probably like $4, $5 a cigar.
Yeah.
So yeah, have at it. So it's just like anybody would do when they go out with their friends and what's that cigar? Hey, hey, try that. Or we switch cigars and things like that. It was time with friends and family.
So it wasn't a baby yet. It was still a rental car that you bought the insurance on. Um, and then it later grew into a baby that you obviously grew to cherish, love, and care for, and grew
Yes,
it to what it
absolutely.
is.
Yes.
So you're at your 5 year mark now. Are we going to get a 5 year anniversary cigar?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Not
Is
only is 5 year anniversary cigar, we came out with the sampler bags as part of the 5 year. So the
mhm.
5 year, we making a lot of change. We came out with new boxes. Let me see. Do I have the new box? I don't have the new box here. I thought there was one over here, but we have black boxes with gold lettering that says DC Cigars, and it has uh, uh, the gold Cooper. Cooper is our mascot, and it says 5 year anniversary on the box. And then we have the sampler bags. We also came out with an elite. We have an elite lounge program, and as part of the elite lounge program, the elite lounges are getting new sticks. Only the elite lounges can get.
What does that mean?
Um, So we're calling it the golden egg.
Nice, nice.
And so everyone, we sat down. And I said, "What lounges are your top lounges?" And I said, "You don't have a number if it's 5, 10, or whatever, but tell me your top lounges." So everyone gave me their top lounges, and I said, "Now these are the ones that are starting our elite program." And so they're automatically in. I said, "Here's the program," and emailed all of them and saying, "Hey, you're part of the elite program." And and now here's the benefits. You have 1 year, within this 1 year, to get it to meet the requirements of the elite program, but within that year you have all the benefits as if you have already met them.
Okay.
So there are two, the living the dream. We have a living the dream Connecticut for them, which only elite programs can get. And then we also have the Sweet Dreams, comes in a Corona size just for them. And we have a new cigar that's coming out just for them.
Very nice. So you're doing a shop owners program,
Yes.
select shop owners program that hits
Yes.
requirements to fall into that elite program.
Yes, the ones that have been very supportive of us, we want to give back to them. They're getting T-shirts and cutters and lighters and posters, and once they hit the mark on the spend for the program, they'll get 100 count humidor, and they can keep it, sell it. I don't care, whatever they want to do, but they'll be able to get some of those things that we're giving away as a
That's
thank you.
awesome. That's very important to do that, right? You have to take care of those that really took care of you in the beginning, which is why I often hear manufacturers say those that were with us from the start will always be taken care of first.
Yeah.
Before anybody else, they will get their stuff.
Actually, you know what? It's funny you say that, and it triggers something for me. Another reason why I was looking and doing research, some of the bigger manufacturers that I talked to, I realized that if there was a shortage of broadleaf, which it was at one point, that they're going to take care of themselves before they took care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so another reason why I did not go with a bigger manufacturer, because I want to be important. With the little bit of rolling that I did in comparison, that I need to be important, and I need to be taken care of. I need you to answer the phone when I call. I need to sit down and have a conversation if I'm not happy, or my customers aren't happy. Hey, my customers aren't happy. I need you to hear me, and then I work together with my manufacturer to say, well, why is this happening? Because it's not always like this. And we figure it out. And so that's very important to have that relationship with my manufacturer.
And to throw your finance background, you just didn't want to be another line item on the general ledger. I mean, because that's not,
Absolutely.
doesn't make you feel good as a business owner. It doesn't make you feel needed or wanted. Um, and so I commend you for actually going and looking for somebody that I'm going to expand on that a little bit more and say you were looking for not somebody that you wanted to be important to, but somebody that also you wanted them to be important to you. You
Yes.
wanted to actually be a part of their history, their story that's written as well for their employees. Hey, Drunk Chicken brought in this much business. Drunk Chicken's a big reason why we stayed alive. Drunk Chicken gave us this. And with the bigger manufacturers, you wouldn't be that. And you wouldn't be as much of that growth story that you wanted to be. I think you wanted to be, right?
I wanted to grow. I still want to grow. Growth is important if I'm going to maintain it. And then I hope one day that I'm able to leave the business to one of my girls. So I'm hoping that they will want it. And if not, that's fine too. But my goal is to leave them something that they're not going to have to struggle with, that is a well-oiled machine that's put together.
So that again, you are just like leading me into the segments I want to talk about literally as we're going through it. I love it. I'm loving this interview so much. I'm loving your personality, and I'm loving this. So
Thank
I
you.
sorry, I've been in sales. I've been in sales for over 20 years. I'm a business consultant at the enterprise level all the way to mom and pop shop. So for me, listening to the growth of a story, listening to the growth of a company, the success, the obstacles to overcome, I geek out on stuff like that, right? I'm weird. Like I love that stuff because it's stories like yours and so many others that constantly raise the bar for younger generations and are constantly looked towards in younger generations. You don't know it now, but 10 years from now, as you've been in this business at that point, 15 years, and you might completely change somebody's life that you don't fully understand. And that's really kind of the fun of having a business. That's the fun of having employees, is bringing people in and watching them grow. You had said giving it over to your daughters. So with that said, where do you see the company in 5 years, in 10 years? Like, where do you want to be at in a perfect world? Obviously, total domination. Correct.
Total domination. Total domination. One of my biggest drivers is that um I'm a first generation cigar person in this industry. I don't have any legacy. Um, I don't have a grandpa, uncle, aunt, or anybody that's been in the industry, know anything about the industry. Um, and when I look around at the PCA and the other manufacturers, I don't see anybody that looks like me. And so one of the things that when you said, um, I want to be successful so that the younger generation can look and say, I see me in that situation. I can do this. And I tell you, the times that I want to give up, that has been my pure motivation. I was going to give up on my PhD, and I was sitting down in the kitchen and saying, "Okay, I'm giving up today." And my daughter came down the steps and said, "Good morning, almost Dr. Mommy." And I was like, "Oh, I
Ah,
can't give up now."
I love it.
And
I love it.
yeah, so the day that I was going to give up, that happened to say, no, I'm gonna keep on going. And
Mm.
in the days that I don't want to do this, my pure motivation is that someone has to be the first. Why does it have to be me? I don't know. But at this point, I'm already here. I'm
You
already
volunteered.
I've already volunteered. So I'm going to keep on going until I get to the point where my name is has the same reputation or the same clout as, and I keep on saying General, but General or Rocky, Gurkha, maybe not their reputation, but just
Name recognition. Name recognition.
yes, name recognition. And I'm sorry,
We love you,
Juan, I
Juan.
love
We
you.
love you,
You
Juan.
know
I
I
love
love
you,
you.
Juan. I love you, Juan. Love you, Juan.
Yeah, Lon knows I love him too, because Juan was one of the first people that I spoke with and brought me into Gurkha. And he just was pure gold for me, and just love. He gave me a lot of pointers, and he said, if you need anything, let me know. I'm here. I haven't taken him up on that offer, but I may on one day.
The only thing I will say about Gurkha is Juan is the best thing that's ever happened to it. And Juan is bringing their name back in. But anyways, please continue.
But
I
yeah,
love
it was a
I
joke.
love
It was a
license
joke.
plates.
But
Oh
yes,
no, no,
I want
no,
the name
totally.
recognition. So
So then,
and that's important.
absolutely. So this is something that at some point you want to literally be the only job you have, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm in so 3 years I can retire, walk away. That would be early retirement. 5 years I can do full retirement. So somewhere between 3 and 5 years, I'm definitely going to walk away. I don't see myself walking away before that. And some of it is that I enjoy what I do, and what I do, as we just talked about earlier, what I do sometimes helps me with. I write policies, and I set goals, and some of those things that we talk about, because I manage a whole bunch of people, and I manage a whole bunch of stores, for lack of a better term. And in doing that helps me with having conversations with my employees for Drunk Chicken, helps me with what direction sometimes that I want to go in with Drunk Chicken, and helps me with thinking outside the box.
Hey, Daddy. No, like I said, your job tailor makes you to have your own business because you literally run a business every day. Like,
Hmm.
for those of you that don't know, we're not going to get into it extensively or anything, but she essentially runs a shit ton of businesses for NASA. So she's like a rocket scientist for business for NASA. So
At least
this
you
is
didn't call
great,
me an
right?
astronaut.
Well, no, no, but
Yeah,
the reality of it is like you have an incredibly demanding job.
I do.
You have a job that I don't think the average public understands could be 80 to 100 hours a week
Yeah.
easily if it needed to be.
Yes.
And you would still find time to do this. And again, that is the kind of the drive aspect of this, right? That is the I'm not stopping till I want to aspect of it. And it's the I will
Exactly.
find the time to do it. And that's what separates success from wanting success, because success only comes to those that, I look at success as something that's, you remember the guy that was at the insurance commercial where the guy put the dollar on the fishing pole? Oh, you almost got it. Oh, you almost
Oh
got it.
yeah, I remember that.
Okay. So that's success, right? And those that want it will never stop reaching for that dollar. And it's never almost got it. It's when I do get it.
Yes.
And those that feel like they want it is the, I'm good. I'm good. I can't get it. And what I love about your story is, again, and I've said this a bunch, but I love that drive. Again, as an entrepreneur myself, I feed on that energy. And it's that even if I worked 80 to 100 hours a week, I'd still find the time to do this, because eventually this is what I want. This will be what
Exactly.
defines me, not my 9 to 5.
Yes, exactly. No, I mean, people find out about my 9 to 5 because they kind of Google and you can find out. It's not that hard, but that's not to me who I am. That's just what pays the bills.
No,
This is more who I
absolutely.
am.
And I love that. Yes, Jacqueline, Doctor.
That's
Um,
Jack. Jack, she is one of the ambassadors out in Texas.
Look at you, 5 years in, you've got people ambassadoring for you, and companies that have been in this 10 years don't even have it. Yes, Danny, that's why I have people like Desiree on. Is I'm always chasing the order of success, and I look at life. I look at success as a, one of my mentors told me in sales, and I apply this to my life. I look at success as nothing more than a collage, and all I do is take other people's stories and try to apply them to mine and see if they work and build my own collage of success. I was told by a mentor, I will never rewrite the wheel. So stop trying to. Just learn from those that can give you the tools that you need to be successful and make them your own.
I agree with that statement, but I also would add that success is not a straight line, and
Mm-mm.
success is it's a destination, and going through that destination, you may take a left turn, and I might take a right turn, but we may end up in the same place.
Right.
So don't a lot of people get really frustrated because they took a right turn, and why am I doing this, and why do I have to go through that, and this is not where I'm supposed to be. Then turn your GPS on, and take another turn, because that
Correct.
doesn't mean that you are wrong in the wrong spot. That just means that you may take longer to get there than that person did. You actually may find a shortcut that they didn't, by turning
Mm-hmm.
your GPS on. So I always find that success is a destination, and it's a journey.
I love it. I love it. And because you could, right? Because you could quote unquote fail, change attitude, right? Because a lot of success is attitude driven. A
Hmm.
lot of it is attitude, mentality, drive. But the reality of it is attitude really is the mentality and the drive. It's combined.
Yeah,
And
and a lot of it's self-talk. If you're saying I'm a failure, then you're a failure. Period.
yes, yes, if you speak it, it will be true. It's the same way as I was listening to a therapist, and when I used to do marketing, he used to tell me how one of the hardest things he had to overcome was convincing people there actually isn't a problem, because you can convince yourself to the point where you're sick.
Hmm.
And now it's what wasn't the problem really now is.
Hmm.
And 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 that's kind of learning from that and understanding that, is it a problem or is it a problem because I'm making it a problem?
Exactly. Yep,
And that's a
exactly.
lot of business ownership, is understanding, are you making it the problem, or is it actually an issue? But I
Because we can wind ourselves up. I mean, in bad negative talk, and to the point where you have caused yourself not to be able to move because you just talked yourself out of your dreams, your success. And you can say
Yes.
so much negative stuff that I don't feel like getting out of bed. I don't feel good. I don't like, how this day going. This is not my day. Well, guess what? It's not going to be your day because you just said it's not your day.
Correct. Correct. And to your very point, how much do we see in people's success stories where they, as a kid, say, I'm going to be this? And oftentimes it's actors or stage or stuff that you really see that drive,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody tells them no, and they don't stop. So the reality of it is the mind really writes the path that
Yes.
you're going to take. And if
Yes.
you're not right in the mind and have the ability to overcome, it's harder for that mind to write the path that you should follow.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I got to ask you, because Danny brought this up. All
Okay.
right. Danny Ravanelli, love him. He's a brother. We actually had a show together, Raw Cigar Review on Instagram that he still keeps up.
I did
I
not
got to
roast
ask
you,
him. He
Danny.
says you roasted him. Now, please don't hold back.
I did not roast him. I did not. I love him. I love him and all that red hair. Little leprechaun. It's my lucky charm. It was not a roast. It was all love.
So what was that? What is he referring to?
I don't know.
All right.
I'll let him tell you.
Well,
if you can't find a way to laugh with and at each other, then you don't need to be around me.
No, totally. I completely agree with you. If I'm not ripping or poking fun, I don't like you. For the most part, like when we're like in person, like I'll jab, But if I'm not saying anything to you, it's usually a thing. But no, I totally agree with you. Danny's roastable. So he says, she said, you're what I expected. I said, I'm not what you. Yeah. We love you, Danny. We love you very much. So I gotta ask, are you going to make your way out to Colorado and try to get yourself into Cigar Fest? The best way to get into Colorado is get into Smoker Friendly, get yourself into Cigar Fest, and let the people in Colorado see you at Cigar Fest, and then hit up local lounges. I could hand walk you into a few of them if you want. Just reach out to me, let me know. Danny can do a few of them up in the border area himself. But when are we looking to expect you out west in the Colorado area?
I tell you what, I'm gonna work with David Williams, who you were working with, and figure out what you just said. Getting into Smoke Fest, getting
Smoker
into
Friendly is, as long as
Smoker
you're in
Friendly.
Smoker Friendly, you can go into uh Cigar Fest.
Okay, so I'm gonna work on that and see how we can make that happen. I'm willing to travel. I travel about 2 weeks out of a month right now. My knee has got me down for the count right now, but it only it's temporary. It's temporary. um, and actually, it's only because my husband says you need to stay off of it. The only reason I'm not. Right now. I keep on
And
telling
you
him that's
probably
that
fight him
knee.
tooth and nail. Yeah, right? You probably fight him tooth and nail. I'll get a new one.
I had a
Technology.
cane at many events. I had a cane, and they were like, "What happened?" My knee's messing up. It's okay. It'll get over it.
So I want to ask you a little bit of more on the personal side.
Okay.
What does Desiree do when Desiree doesn't want to be Drunk Chickens Desiree, or NASA Desiree, or Mom Desiree, or Wife Desiree? What do you do for you in your time?
Oh, wow. That's the hardest question you asked me. because I don't know. I'll come back to you on that because I'm not sure that
Well,
what I
are you
did.
still a big reader? Do you find enjoyment in a book and losing yourself in the reality of a book? Like if I was to say Desiree's going on a vacation for only Desiree, what would you do?
I would go on the. I would sit by a pool. So Rico and I went to Panama a couple weeks ago, and I grabbed a book, sat by the pool, and that's all I did was read while I was there. And he was like, "Where are you going?" "I'm going by the pool." He was like, "All right, I'll catch up with you later." So I was at the pool, smoking a cigar, having a drink, and reading a book. I actually had to detox after that, but because that's what I did all day.
What kind of books do you like to read?
I'm a big sci-fi person, and those period romances, Bridgerton type.
We're not talking about like the ones with like Fabio on the cover holding the lady
No,
going
not
like
those
this.
kind. More of um, a werewolf or a vampire that fell in love in
Sure,
after
sure, sure.
first bite type thing, and there it's in the
Twilight.
19th century or 1800s and stuff like that, and the king. So I don't know why I like those things.
Well, they're fun. It's an escape from reality. It's a different time period. It's a different
Yeah.
thought process.
How they
So,
talked is so romantic to me.
so would you lose yourself in a book? How long does it take you to finish it?
Oh, not long at all, because I have to read
Yeah.
every page. I don't watch a lot of TV. So when I pick up a book, it that's why sometimes it's hard to pick up one because I won't go to sleep until I finish it. I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like I have to get up at 6. And so what am I doing? Still up reading this book?
Has there ever been a book you've read that you felt the movie did it justice?
Oh yeah, most books. Devil in a Blue Dress, all of the
The movie did it
Twilights.
justice?
No, oh, the movie did it justice. None.
Did you never once felt like the movie
No, I always
remotely
feel the
equal?
movie can't give as much detail, and I have a great imagination, so the movies just never give enough detail, and never give enough of the backstory, never just give fills in those blanks that the book gives you every little detail, and so it just I don't know.
So
I have not.
are your kids big readers?
No.
No. Okay.
Not fantasy like, oh well. No, Sydney is. She is. She does. Yeah, Sydney does. She reads fantasy because I've given her a few of my books. I'm like, oh, you will love this one, and she's read them.
So what's one of your favorite book series that you've read?
Oh
Or
wow.
books? Series or book?
Again, I love the vampire books, and really love vampire books. Um, Blue
Bram
Blood. I really
Stoker's?
love the Blue Blood series. Don't ask me who it's by though right now because I can't remember.
I assume you've read the Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Dracula.
obviously that's
Is
classic.
huh?
That's classic.
Yeah, you have to read Dracula. But I liked the the romantic vampire movies and the alchemy books and stuff like that.
Okay,
And
okay.
magic.
Do you get into
People
like
have magic.
do you get into like space sci-fi and stuff like that? Or
So I've read a lot of the Star Wars series and books. Um, but it's not it doesn't capture me as much as the other ones do. So it's the magic, the werewolves, the vampires, the uh,
it's
those are
the
my
set.
like my
It's the
niche
scene.
books. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, no, I totally understand. And I've noticed that in people like people that typically like the sci-fi that's up in space typically don't read the other side of sci-fi. I always typically found myself more thrown towards space. But I have loved the Frankensteins, the Draculas, the werewolf stuff. I haven't gone down the romantic side of things. Most of my stuff usually ends with somebody dying at the end, never a
Well,
kiss.
someone dies, but then someone cries too.
Yeah,
Like,
see,
oh my
I know.
gosh, I love him.
So, if I was to ask you, what is an all-time favorite book of yours that you've read several times? What would
So
it be?
you're going to think it's really crazy, but I
No.
really, really, really love the Twilight series. I've read that whole series. The movies were okay, but the books I kept having to read it because I was like, oh look, they missed that and they missed this and they should have added this in there. But I love the Twilight series book. She did an
Harry Potter?
awesome job. Harry Potter, I read when the kids were younger. I did not like the movies at all, but I did enjoy the books.
It's crazy to think that J.K. Rowling told those as nighttime story that turned
Yeah.
into made her a billionaire. Um,
And she wasn't young when she did that either.
no, no. She's in her 60s now, I think, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was only what my wife was the same age as Harry in every one of the books.
Oh,
So
wow.
she was obsessed with Harry Potter books, like to the point where, like you, it's like 5 in the morning and she's got to get up in 2 hours for school and she's still reading the book.
Yeah, I had to read them. Anytime I pick up a book that I really love, I cannot go to sleep.
I don't disagree with you at that. One last question from Danny here. Danny, you're asking too many questions. No, I'm just totally kidding. I love you, brother. You gonna throw another PCA party in New Orleans?
Yes, but I'm going to throw it at a place that requires to have tops.
So to have tops or to
Yes,
have
two halves.
Okay, two
So
halves. So Danny can't show up.
I throw a party at PCA and I'm asking around because, I'm a small business. And so I'm trying to find a nice, decent place, nice size that I can invite a whole bunch of people and get some food, some drink discounts. And they give me the name of this hotel. And I said, okay, great. So when we get there, I had someone else go and scout it out, and they said, "Oh, it's really nice." Well, they didn't see the sign that said shirts are optional. So
The name of your thing is Drunk Chicken. I mean,
that was not the intention. But so what ends up happening is that I said, "Okay, look, can we get to come into this door and all your other patrons go in that door?" And so they allowed that to happen for that night. So we were totally sectioned off from the topless area. But when people rolled up and saw the sign, they were like, well, what kind of place do you have me coming to? I was like, I don't know.
Well, sounds like Danny, she's going to have that party down in New Orleans for PCA. I don't know if you're going to get in after tonight, but maybe you will. We'll have to see. I'm sure Desiree will let you in. Maybe.
No, Danny's definitely invited. He's definitely invited.
It was a swingers club.
Was it a swingers club?
That's what he said.
It might have been. I like I said, I had somebody else working on that for me, and it was a reasonable place, and I was able to get food and some drink discounts, and yeah.
Well,
but when I roll up in there, I was like, oh my gosh, where am I?
Either way, there's going to be a party for you to go to, Danny, for Drunk Chicken at PCA in New Orleans.
But you keep telling all my business, Danny. You might have to get chopped in the throat when I see you.
I told you, man, you might be on that off list. I don't know, who knows? But here in ending the show, Desiree, I want to throw some just lightning questions at you, just really simple questions, and we'll go ahead and end the show here. So I do this to everybody that comes on for the first time, and then I make up
Okay.
new ones when you come on for the second time. So it's always fun, right? It's always something different.
All right.
Who's your favorite rapper? Now, you can give me musician like some have, or you can just give me cigar rapper, or both. It's really up to you. But what's your favorite rapper?
Tupac. Oh, sorry.
I agree with you on that one.
Tupac is my favorite rapper because a lot of it is that I don't, or Eminem, but I don't know a lot of the new rappers at all. So.
Oh no, they're all also they don't pronounce words anymore. They just But anyways, what's your favorite cigar wrapper?
Habanos.
Okay, so I
Nicaragua
actually had the DCO and the Fat Hen, which is the Habano tonight, and the Fat Hen was absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
What's your favorite cut?
That's difficult. I like a V cut. I like a V cut even on Lanceros, but I'm obsessed with perfecting a straight cut without a guillotine. I just want to get that cap. So I'm obsessed with just making sure that I can get that perfect cut, because when I go to cutting lights and people say, "Hey, can you cut my cigar?" I want to have that perfect cut. So I do a lot of practicing on that one, just to make sure that that happens every single time.
Okay. What is your favorite size?
Sides?
Size.
Oh, cigar size. Okay, I thought you was like size, like macaroni and cheese.
No, that is a great sign. I'm not gonna lie, that's a great sign. But what's your favorite cigar size?
Lanceros.
Yes. I'm the same way. I'm one of those people that buy boxes of them. I am obsessed with Lanceros. Danny calls them trash Ceros, but what the fuck does Danny know? Lanceros are absolutely the best size. Danny knows nothing. And the guy smoked a
if
cigar.
You love Lanceros, then you should try the DCO Lancero. That cigar is fucking amazing. That's my favorite in that side. But all hands down. I actually smoke more than I sell these days on that one.
I am always looking for new Lanceros. So the DCO I gotta try. I will try that. I will make sure that we get that in there. What is your favorite pairing? You don't have to give brand, just either coffee, bourbon, gin, rum, whatever, water.
Okay, so I have moved off of the whiskey. If you would ask me last year, I probably told you some type of whiskey with a full body cigar. But now I have somehow went to a distillery and had some gin, and now I can't get enough of gin. I don't know what it is about that gin.
Well, I tell you what,
so
if you can't get enough of gin, I don't mean to interrupt. I just got to say again, ADD moment there. I'm sorry.
No problem.
If you did do bourbon or scotch or anything and you move to gin, I have one gin that you could find online that you have to try. I hate gin. Everything about gin is just nasty to me. This is the only gin that I'm obsessed with. It's called Dream Stream. It's made by Axe and the Oak, but look at the color.
Oh, okay.
So they
gin doesn't come that color.
No, they age it in bourbon barrels. And so it's got a lot of that. Plus, it's a citrus gin versus a juniper gin. Very good.
You said Dream Stream?
It's Dream Stream made by Axe and the Oak. And it's like $30 for the bottle. I have given that to friends that are obsessed with gin. that are like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
Yeah, I'm
So
obsessed
yes,
with gin right now. So
yeah, definitely try it. It's the best of both worlds, but it's not a juniper driven gin. It's a citrus driven gin.
yeah, that's what I find very what I love about gin, because there's peppery gin,
Mm-hmm.
there's citrus gin, there's floral gins, there's, I mean, so many different aspects to gin that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I really like this. And so I've been on like this gin tour to find the perfect gin. So I'll let you know when I find it.
Well,
I
I would
even went
love
and
to.
bought what's his name? What Room 101 gin?
Oh, Matt
Matt Booth.
Booth. Oh my
Yeah,
God, that's so good. That's
yeah.
so good. It's so smooth. Honestly, buy yourself a bottle. You can go to Axe in the Oaks website and buy a bottle of it. It's really it's great for mixing, and it's got a great mix of kind of that bourbon-esque gin, which kind of sounds weird, but it goes together very, very well. Um,
I'm looking forward to it.
so I took this question from James Lipton, and I think it would be fun to ask you this question because I think you're introspective enough with yourself to kind of go down this avenue with me here. And this will be the last
Okay.
question of the night. Um, when you meet your creator someday, what do you hope to hear?
What do I hope to hear?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Congratulations on all your success. Come in and rest.
I love it.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
I love it. And by God, you go to 95, 100, my guess is you're still going to be rocking and rolling at the speed you are. So you're going to need some time to rest at that point. So I love that question because it's an introspective question that a lot of people don't really think about. And it requires you to think about your own mortality and how you want yourself viewed. And the way you just pictured yourself was a very humblistic approach. And that says a lot about your character. That says a lot about who you are as a person. You wanted congratulations for the work you have done and the success that you have had, but it's only because that you've had that success and you've made that work happen. So I appreciate that answer, and I really respect that
Thank you.
answer. And I think it showed a lot about you as a character, that you weren't like, oh, for the great kids I had or this, but it was much more about you as a person. I appreciate that. Desiree,
Yeah,
this
I
has
mean,
been an
it,
please go ahead.
I'm sorry. I would say, I mean, success is not just about um, the business, but the success with the kids, the success with the marriage, success with everything, that all aspects of everything. And I truly believe that my success and my drive and everything comes from my creator. So the one above, not going to let me fail. So
Well, Desiree, I love you. You
thank
have
you. I love
been,
hanging out with you.
this has been so much fun. I hope this was an interview in a way that you haven't given before and something completely new and different avenues that you've talked about. And from what I've seen in previous interviews, I feel like I was able to kind of touch on a different side of you than I think a lot of the other shows do touch on when they have you on. And I really appreciate your openness and your honesty. And I love your drive. I love your drive.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's absolutely fantastic. So, cheers to you. Cheers to your success. And thank you so much for spending your night with me. I am looking so forward to having that Connecticut tomorrow morning. I finally get to have it. So, I'm going to have it and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for spending the night with me. And tell everybody real quick before we let you go how to find you, how to find out information about you, where you're going to be at, and your cigars.
Well, you can find me www.drunkchickencigars.com. You can find us on IG at Drunk Chicken Cigars. You can find us on Twitter at D Chicken Cigars. You can find us on, or is that X now? You can find us on YouTube at Drunk Chicken Cigars. Facebook is Drunk Chicken Cigars as well. I just want to thank everybody for that tuned in and that's going to watch the show. Thank you for taking the time to listening. Thank you for taking the time to support. And Ryan, thank you for having this interview. It's people like you that help spread the words about Drunk Chicken Cigars, and I can't do it without people like you. And this has been an amazing interview. And I really enjoyed it and look forward to meeting you in person and going down to
Yes,
Colorado. So I'm going to work on
absolutely.
that.
Whatever party I'm at, Danny cannot be at without my approval. No, I'm totally kidding. Love you, brother. But in all seriousness, Desiree, thank you so much for spending your night with me. And everybody tune in for Drunk Chicken Cigars. Definitely check them out. Very rarely have I seen a company with this level of drive, with this level of ability to push a company the way they have in the time period that they have and instilled such a great following. Because let's be honest, you've done really, really good on the marketing. You've done great with your ambassador program. You've done great with creating an awesome following. I look very forward to seeing where you are in 5 years from now. And Desiree, you always have a welcome home here at the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. And until we see you all again, smoke what you like, smoke as often as you can, and have a great, great rest of your week. Bye, everyone.